The last few times, we've been looking at two individuals, both of them Gentiles, whom Jesus said had great faith, or like I like to say, extraordinary faith. And we've seen that in the case of the Canaanite woman, she had deep personal humility, and she also exhibited unusual spiritual insight. And last time we began to look at the Roman centurion, who, strangely enough, had deep personal humility, which was really countercultural for a Roman centurion because they were trained to act superior. But he also, we're going to look at this time, he had unusual spiritual insight. Now, the account of Matthew and the account of Luke vary a little bit, but in both cases, the message that the centurion wanted to say to Jesus is, "Don't come to my house, because I am unworthy for you to come to my house. But," he said, "just say the word, and my servant will be healed." Now, most people wanted Jesus to come to their house. As a matter of fact, he's the only one in all of the Gospels that said, "Don't come to my house," because people felt like the miracle was performed by the touching of hands. When Jesus would lay his hand on somebody, they would be healed. Or if he was proximate to where they were, that the miracle would take place. But this man was different than all the rest, and he said, "Don't come to my house because I'm not worthy for you to come under my roof. But just say the word, and my servant will be healed. For I am a person who exercises authority as an officer with soldiers, and I tell one to go, and he goes, and I tell another one to come, and he comes, and I tell my servant, do this, and he does it. So all you need to do is just simply say the word, and my servant will be healed." Well, that's unusual. And the question that naturally comes up in our mind is, how did he know that? Now, some would say, well, he understood how military authority worked, and so he simply applied that to spiritual authority. But he had no reason to apply military authority to spiritual authority without some kind of understanding of the way spiritual miracles, how miracles took place. And again, our question that rings in our mind must be, where did he come up with this knowledge? Because nobody else in all of the Gospels said that to Jesus. This was the only man who said that to Jesus, the only person. And the only explanation is simply that God gave him that understanding, because there's no other way he could have had it. Now, that raises a question: why did God give that understanding to him and to nobody else? And we could look at the Canaanite woman and say, why did God give understanding of who Jesus was, that he was the son of David? And hardly anybody else understood that, especially the religious leaders. They knew the Hebrew scriptures better than anyone, and they didn't understand that Jesus, this man from Nazareth, was the son of David, the Messiah. So what I've been trying to communicate from the beginning is that faith is not a gift that God gives, but spiritual understanding is a gift that God gives. God gives spiritual insight to some and not to others. And God gave spiritual insight to this Canaanite woman. God gave spiritual insight to this Roman centurion. And I would like to, and I'm making the case that the reason that he gave that spiritual insight to each of them is because of their demonstration of deep personal humility. Now, next time we get together, we're going to take this a little bit further and look at some other scriptures from the Gospels that seem to give the same message. But here's the message that I'm saying, is that faith comes from spiritual understanding, and spiritual understanding is given to humble people, and only humble people. So I'll look forward next time to talking with you a little more in depth about that. So take care.